Dear Diary, my name is Winston Smith. I've purchased this diary illegally. I'm being watched. Eyes are everywhere. Everything I do, say, think is not my free will. They call themselves Big Brother. They control me and my people of Oceania. Although I'm considered a member of the ruling class, I'm rarely treated as such. I too am still under political control. It disgusts me. I'm forced to work at the Ministry of Truth, where I change political records to fill my party's needs. I'm not alone in my hatred for Big Brother. There is another who I am sure is working against him. His name is O'Brien. Angrily thinking about my hatred of Big Brother, I was unknowingly writing down with Big Brother. I'm scared. I just created a thought crime. What if they know? What if they're after me? Wait, what's that? A knock on my door? Who could be at the door? Was it the police? Do they already know of my crime? My heart came to a sigh of relief when I opened the door, only to find my neighbor, Miss Parsons, just needing some help with her plumbing. I feel really bad for Miss Parsons. She's being watched even more than I am. Her children are part of the junior spies, which I've had my fair share of trouble with too, but poor Mrs. Parkins has to live with them. I've had a dream once that I've recently recalled. It is a faint voice telling me we will meet in a place where there is no darkness. This diary is a mistake. This thought crime, it makes me a dead man. I'm too far into this anyway, so I must continue. On that note, I just had another weird dream this morning. Nothing as creepy or scary as the first one, but strange. I was in a place called the Golden Country, where the dark-haired girl from my work took off her clothes and ran towards me. For some reason, I'd woken up with the words Shakespeare on my lips. I sometimes try to think back to my childhood, but I can't remember very much. How can I, when Big Brother outlawed things like photos and videos? I've been thinking a lot about Oceania's past recently, and how nobody really knows what went on. Big Brother wants us to believe that we're at war with Eurasia and alliance with East Asia, but as good as anybody knows that the historical past has been altered. So there's no really telling what's going on. Speaking of which, today at work, I had to alter a record of a speech made in December 1983. It referred to a man named Comrade Withers, one of Big Brother's former officials, who has since been vaporized. Since Comrade Withers was executed as an enemy of the party, it was deemed unacceptable to have the document of the file praising him as a loyal party member. Instead of Withers, I had replaced him with a character named Comrade Ogilvy. Unlike Withers, Ogilvy was the definition of a perfect party man, opposed to sex and suspicious of everyone. It feels bad. The man that was once Comrade Withers has now ceased to exist. Today, I had lunch with a man named Syme. He's a very smart man who is working on creating his own revised dictionary of newspeak. His thought was to filter any words that could lead to thought crime, and if there were no words, then there was no thought crime. Simon thinks very highly of his creation, but in my opinion, I think it'll end up getting him vaporized one day. I witnessed another act of deception by the party today in terms of chocolate. They said that the serving size would increase to 20 grams, when in fact, 20 grams was actually a decrease. This thing is starting to really get on my nerves. The dark-haired girl was looking at me today. I'm still very wary on whether she's a party agent. At this moment, I felt very rebellious. It made me think of my past sexual encounters. I had been married before, but that didn't work out very well. The party's whole goal was to take pleasure out of sex. My wife, at the time, did not enjoy it. And when she knew we would never have children, we instantly separated. That was not my only time, though. I had once stooped low enough to try an ugly old prostitute. Writing in here doesn't seem to eliminate any of my anger, depression, or my thoughts of rebellion. Although, I have thought of some strategy if it came to rebellion. I believe the way to taking down the party is not through the Brotherhood, but through the proles, which take up 80% of the population. With the majority, we can easily overpower the party. I somewhat feel like this diary is a kind of ode to O'Brien. Although I knew almost nothing about him besides his name, I'm almost positive that he's against the party. I believe that true freedom lies in the ability to interpret reality as one perceives it. To be able to say 2 + 2 = 4. Today, I went on a walk through the Prole District. I envy the simple lives of the common people. I walked into a pub and talked to this old guy. I wanted to know if the party's so-called past was actually true. Although the old man wasn't very much of a help, his answers were so vague that I got almost nothing out of it. I just know that the real answers to the past lie here, with the people of Prole. On my way back, I feel like I'm being followed. I'm scared. Is it that dark-haired girl? Is she an agent of the party? Is she hunting me down? I imagine hitting her with the stone I had in my pocket. I wouldn't be able to withstand the torture that they could put me through. I honestly think that suicide is a decent option if they catch me. Luckily, I was able to escape. Today at work, I saw that dark-haired girl again. This time, she had a sling on her arm. This morning she tumbled, and when I went to help her, she handed me a note saying I love you. This came as a huge surprise to me. Up until this point, I thought she was a secret agent working for the party. There was something about this note. Maybe it's not all bad. Maybe I can live. After a long few days, I finally talked to her. We sat at the same lunch table. We arranged to meet up in Victory Square so that we could avoid the crowds. During our little meeting, she finally tells me what her name is. She tells me her name is Julia. I'm so excited. That's such a beautiful name. I'm filled with happiness. Things escalated very quickly after that. The next thing I know, we are making love in the woods. This is exactly the very thing I dreamed about. I had asked her if this was her first time, but she told me she's done this many times before. But that actually made me happy, because the more guys she was with, the more party members are committing crimes. Life would be so much easier as a prole. It's a simple life, where I could hide from the party. I can't help but fantasize about Catherine dying and being able to marry Julia. Although, I feel as if Julia is only a rebel from the waist down. I had a run-in with O'Brien today. We spoke, and he gave me his address. I'm thrilled. I'm counting down this path, and I know it could lead to my death, but I've accepted my fate at this point. I had a realization this morning. After a scary dream, I finally remembered what happened to my family. Up until now, I had secretly thought that I had killed my mother. I now remember that it was just as stupid as running away after getting some chocolate. I'm unsure on how safe this room is. I feel as though the longer I stay in the room, the more likely I am to get caught. It's a bold move, but me and Julia went over to O'Brien's. I revealed to O'Brien that we were enemies of the party. He told us that the Brotherhood was real and that he was a part of the rebellion. As a parting gift, O'Brien gave me a book. It was the Manifesto of the Rebellion. He tells me that we will meet again in the place where there is no darkness. I'm freaked out. That phrase was real. Julia and I left reassured that O'Brien was on our side. After my encounter with O'Brien, I had read the book he gave me. I had to read some of it to Julia in bed. Next thing I know, I wake up. I'm surrounded by the police. I just woke up. How do they know I'm here? How do they know what I did? I'm scared. They took me into a prison cell, and they beat Julia. Now I'm in a cold, bright cell. At last, I'm in a place where there is no darkness, just a very bright light. that never goes out. I don't know what kind of torture they planned for me, but I must not betray Julia. I hope that they give me a razor blade so I can just end my life fast. O'Brien betrayed me. He works for the party. He told me that my crime was refusing the party's control. He's trying to torture me and change me into something I'm not. I was foolish to believe I ever stood a chance against the party. They moved me to room 101 after yelling my hatred for Big Brother. The room is ominous and creepy. They told me that I was going to experience my worst fear. They surrounded me with rats. I'm so scared I don't know what to do. They're my biggest fear. I can't take it anymore. I give in. I tell them to torture Julia instead of me. I feel overwhelmed with guilt. I had just betrayed Julia. They let me free after that. I feel guilty, and now I no longer have any lust towards Julia. I accept Big Brother and everything they do for us.